Perez, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you, Crystal. Hi, Anna, nice to meet you. How long have you been here?
Since May of 2014.
Oh, great. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, audience, too. All right. Great.
All right. Am I on?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Are we going to have ambient noise? Yeah. Why don't we tell you what? I am a trained yeller, so I'll just speak loudly. Well, good morning, Secretary Perez, Mr. Dunn, Mr. McQueen, trustees and guests. On behalf of the Metropolitan Community College of Kansas City, it is my privilege to welcome you to our Business Technology campus. My name is Mark James, and I serve as the Chancellor of MCC, a 5-campus community college serving the greater Kansas City metropolitan area for the past 100 years. I haven't served for the past 100 years. The college has been in existence for 100 years. I especially want to recognize our Board of Trustees, David Disney, Mary Ann Tao, and Richard Tolbert. I want to thank the Board of Directors of the MCC Foundation who are here with us today, and our economic development and industry partners who are also here today. In my 5 years as Chancellor, with today's event led by Secretary Perez, we have now had the honor of being visited by 3 U.S. Cabinet Secretaries, the Second Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden, and the President himself, all of whom have come to learn more about the innovative programs that our faculty and staff are pioneering at MCC. It is our mission to prepare our students to meet the region's workforce demands of Kansas City's businesses and industries. Many of these programs are expensive to operate, and it's through grants such as the Department of Labor, Trade Adjustment Assistance, Community College, and Career Training that we are able to provide them. Here representing many of the region's businesses as the elected chairman of the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce is Mr. Terry Dunn, retired president and CEO of J.E. Dunn and J.E. Dunn Construction Group, to extend greetings and an introduction of Secretary Perez. Mr. Dunn.
Thank you. I am extremely honored to be here today to welcome Secretary of Labor Thomas E. Perez to the Metropolitan Community College and to Greater Kansas City. I want to speak just a moment on 2 topics. One, quickly, as President and CEO of J.E. Dunn Construction Company for over 25 years, we have had a tremendous opportunity and partnership to work with Metropolitan Community College in the development and training of our employees. Basically, every field employee who works in the metropolitan region has a training partnership with Metropolitan Community College as they develop through the various levels of building trades. We also have educated a number of our employees with Metropolitan Community College, including 3 of my sons, one who is still working for J.E. Dunn Construction Company. So collaboration and partnership has been at the heart of my relationship with this institution for over 25 years, and we're extremely proud to be a collaborative partner with Metropolitan Community College. I also have 2 of my board members from the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce present, Clyde McQueen and Chancellor Mark James, and we are very, very honored to have them as a member of our board of directors. But collaboration, developing a workforce that is ready for both today's jobs and tomorrow's job is very important. And I can assure you from a business standpoint that this is ground zero for developing that talent. And we as a business community see a very strategic relationship with Metropolitan Community College. And with that, I'm going to look forward to a great event. Again, we are extremely honored that the Secretary is here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Good morning. Can you hear me in the back? I've never been accused of speaking too softly. So if you can't, let me know, okay? It's an honor to be here, Chancellor. Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind introduction. Thank you to all of the trustees who are here. Your work is invaluable. You don't get remunerated for it, but the non-monetary rewards continue to be priceless. And thank you to all of the instructors. I had the privilege of meeting many. I'm confident some are watching on live streaming. We have others who are in the room. Your work is remarkable. I asked before one of the instructors, what do you like best about your work? And she said, I like to be part of changing lives. And that's what you do here. You change lives. You create endless possibilities for so many people. And I want to thank the corporate partners. The key principle that you have embedded in your DNA here, Chancellor, is that everything that is done here is demand driven. And you understand the opportunities. And the opportunities here are remarkable in so many different contexts and sectors. And the partnerships that you have built, embedding that demand-driven notion into what you do is what it's all about. And so I want to thank our partners. Everywhere I go, I have the same conversation with CEOs. It's a bit of a Groundhog Day conversation, and it's a wonderful Groundhog Day conversation. I say, how you doing? And people, I haven't had this conversation with Kevin, but I'm going to predict that he would tell me the same thing, which is that I'm optimistic about the future. I want to build my business and grow my business. And one of my biggest challenges moving forward is that I need to make sure I have that talented pipeline of skilled workers. That's the conversation I have everywhere. And as I said before to the Chancellor, we're kind of like Match.com. We try to match job seekers like Brittany, who want to punch their ticket to the middle class, with employers who want to grow their business. And the secret sauce of success is right here at MCC, because you have been a remarkable leader. You have been a great recipient, and you have earned the dollars that you have gotten through our grant process. You have been a prolific recipient of grants, to your credit, and they're all competitive grants. And you've been prolific because you have built a great model that recognizes, again, the need to be demand-driven. You recognize that you need to take the student and job seeker where you find them. Somebody has a childcare issue, you don't simply say, we can't help you. You build a holistic solution that helps them upskill while being a good mom or a good dad at the same time, not having to make a choice. You understand that partnership is the key to success, and you have built partnerships across everywhere. I'm so glad to have our workforce system represented here, because this enterprise is a joint venture between the federal government, our state partners, our local partners, our business partners, our educators, our nonprofits. And you have really put that partnership in action through what you are doing. And it's all about the Britneys of the world. I met Derek earlier. People who came in wanting to upskill. They had hunger, but they needed the assistance, not only the assistance in the classroom on the hard skills, but the assistance on the equally important life skills. I don't use the word soft skills because it implies that they're not as important. The equally important skills of teamwork and other critical dimensions of success in a workplace. You have figured that out. You cracked the code here, and that's why we all visit you, because you're doing such great work. So I'm really looking forward to having a discussion about the following issue, which is you were among the first recipients of our investments under our TAC program 4 years ago. You've put these programs in action. I've seen their success. And what I'd love to learn from you is how do we scale this? What are the lessons you've learned? How can we make sure that every community college has the system in place that you've been able to put in place? What can we take elsewhere? How do we sustain the progress? And what I look forward to learning from graduates or current students is how has this changed your life? And how can we do a better job? because we're all about continuous quality improvement. I get up every day, and the president gets up every day asking the question, what can we do to help everyday Americans punch their ticket to the middle class? What can we do to build an economy of shared prosperity where we understand that the more people we help, the more shared prosperity we have? What can we do for you? What's worked well, and what do we need to do better? Because I always want to walk away with homework. I appreciate the good work that's been done, but I want to make sure that we do even better, that we take the examples here and the lessons here and go to school on them. So thank you so much for the leadership that you all show. Thank you for the partnership. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about the secret sauce of success here at MCC.
Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and get started in our roundtable. And as the secretary had said, this is all about partnerships. And so I think we're going to start there talking about our partnerships. As also the CFO for MCC, I can tell you that we'll just take more of those grants. Okay, that's okay. We like being prolific in every way. So the Kansas City, Missouri region, we have been very fortunate to receive a number of these grants since 2011. And we want to talk about how these grants have impacted the relationship among the Workforce Investment Board, the college, as well as the local businesses. And so I think maybe what we'll do is start with Clyde, if you want to talk about from the Full Employment Council's perspective of helping get people employed and how this partnership has impacted what you all do here in the Kansas City region.
Well, I think there are 4 basic areas. One is that the community college and Workforce Investment Board, we do what we call joint convening. By that means we work with employers concurrently so that there is not this redundancy of 5 different people coming to employers 4 different times trying to ask them what do they want. And the first thing they'll say when you do that is, I don't want you to 5 different people coming to me at 4 different times trying to figure out what we want. The second thing is that we dually enroll our clients because that gives them that much more support. Because once they're in a performance matrix, that creates the need for everybody to make sure they are successful. And the third piece of it, I think, is on the curriculum development side. As we have worked with the college, they have been very open to having their instructional staff to come and hear from employers about, we need X, Y, and Z at this time. And so we take it out of the semester-based box and put it on a market-based box. So if we need to have a curriculum that's done in 10 weeks versus 14, they work with us. If we need to try to make the location to be not just at the college campus, but at a community-based organization, we have had a number of courses that are technical-based, part of the Career Center itself. So the instructors have been very flexible. The curriculum has been on demand and market-based and not necessarily semester-based. And I would say the final thing has been is that we've been able to reduce a lot of redundancy that has been a typical complaint among many employers about working with workforce programs. And so we think that's been able to help us be effective in using this tag grants, but very effective in that regard.
Great.
And Mark, you want to follow up with how we've leveraged that partnership?
Yeah, Clyde hit it right on the nail head, and it wasn't always that way. 5 years ago, I'd say we were tripping over each other coming in and out of the door. And so some of it takes commitment at the leadership level. Easily that situation could have, with different personalities, could have been, the basis of all kinds of hard feelings and competition and this, that, whatever. But instead, in our case, it was, let's sit down and fix this. Let's figure out how we reduce the redundancy and collaborate and become force multipliers for each other and that sort of thing. The secretary brought up Match.com, and this may sound a little incestuous, but I sit on Clyde's board. That was one way that we were able to ensure more collaboration and consistency. Is he asked me to serve on his board. I gladly do so. It helps me better understand his business, and similarly Clyde to understand ours. A lot of times, in fact, I'm not ashamed to say I learn more about what we're doing in the college from Clyde, because he is so in tune with what we're doing. The other piece of collaboration is at the state level. The Division Workforce Development has been a huge partner of ours for years, And then Missouri's Community College Association. In most cases, we have participated in applying for these grants as a consortium with other community colleges throughout Missouri. And that's given us another opportunity to avoid duplication, redundancy, wasting taxpayers' dollars in spending multiple startup costs. So if St. Louis Community College figures out something, a better way to invent the mousetrap in furtherance of one of these grants, we'll borrow their curriculum and we'll implement it here rather than waste time and energy reinventing the wheel. So it really does boil down to the grants provide resources that really adds gas to the fire of collaboration.
Okay, so just to pivot off of what the Chancellor said, before we talk to some of our employer partners, why don't we let our Community College Association person speak a little bit about how that consortium has worked in terms of that backbone of the partnership throughout the state.
Dawn Busek here with Missouri Community College Association. The tax grants were truly a capacity building opportunity for us. And as acting as a consortium, we were able to tackle some of the tough initiatives that were really hard for one single institution to implement. Things like credit for prior learning model policies statewide. If a student from St. Louis needs to take a Metropolitan Kansas City class that's not offered in St. Louis, can do so through these fabulous articulation agreements that we've created amongst ourselves as partners. So the TACT opportunity as a consortium worked for Missouri because we are a decentralized, we're not a system state. All 13 colleges are autonomous, but it gave us that once in a lifetime opportunity to come together and to start behaving like a system and accomplish a lot of good for the 5,000 students we've trained.
Good job.
And so Karen, you're one of the deans for the college and currently here at the Business and Technology campus. So maybe talk about for a moment as how the college has benefited from the consortium with our other community college partners.
It's definitely been a great support network. So our faculty can reach out with faculty across the state. Our grant advisors can reach out with grant advisors from across the state. It's really a place where they have a network of support people all working on the same issue and the same problem and trying to tackle it. And so they've learned from each other, which has really been, I think, good because they're not working in isolation. Too often we get grants and they work in isolation, and they have a network across the state, excuse me, that also informs our campus network. So it's been a great partnership in that respect.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a second and hear a little bit from some of our partners that are employers. And one of the first grants that we had was the Missouri Health Grant, and then second was the Missouri Manufacturing Grant. So maybe Hilda, for a second, you're the CEO for Samuel Rogers Healthcare System here in Kansas City, and speak from the employer perspective of how getting some trained workers into your pipeline has been beneficial.
Well, recruiting is especially difficult for the nursing positions and well, actually for any position in healthcare right now. So having people who are ready to work is so beneficial to the community, to the student, and to Samuel Rogers. As part of the work that we do together, the students rotate through Samuel Rogers Health Center, and so they get a really good feel of what it's like to work in a true healthcare environment, and also, as the secretary said, not soft skills, but those other skills. What should your behaviors be in a workplace? And also receiving the hands-on that we provide, and working very closely with the professors. We go back and forth and have conversations about the students and what are the learning deficits. We worked together in helping to build a curriculum and also to develop core competencies. This is what the students need to have in order to be employable. So those are the things that have really worked for us. It's just not the technical knowledge, but it's also the behaviors that make you successful in the workplace. And so this program blends those two together. And then after they've rotated with us and we have an opening, oh my gosh, why not hire a known quality person who knows your system, knows your culture, and is ready to work.
Thank you. So what about from the manufacturing perspective, Kevin?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us. Manufacturing side, it was a beautiful thing. When we hooked up with MCC, kind of talked to David Grady to let him know what we were looking for and not to overdo some things and not to underdo some things. But when we hired some of our interns, I mean, they come in knowing how to read blueprints, knowing how to read calipers, OD mics, ID mics. More or less the basics is what they were showing them, and that was something that we didn't have to take time out of the day to show them. So like I said, it really was overwhelming when I got the phone call to come out and visit because we're in the manufacturing business. It was a win-win situation for us, and we really couldn't find, well, I wouldn't say we couldn't find it. There was really not quality workers that was really walking in our door, beat down our doors. But once we hit the internship, it was, and we weren't looking to hire. We were just looking to educate because Phi Corporation is a big contributor in their community of helping youth, helping the younger generation. And it was kind of like these guys were the video game gurus. And back in my day, it was a typewriter. So it was just a great fit. We were all learning from one another. And it was kind of like little bottom feeders. He'd show me and I'd show him, but it was just a kind of a match made, you know, and it was a blessing, really. It's just overwhelming how these kids come to our corporation and just, you know, let's put a different spin on what we were doing for years, because we were in this box, we were trapped in this box, and they were outsiders kind of looking in, showing us new ways of doing things to improve our processes, to improve a lot of different things in our organization. Like I said, it was kind of a match made in heaven in a way.
So why don't we think about the experience with Fike or with Samuel Rogers, and Lisa, why don't you speak to us about as the state is trying to grow these businesses, how this type of consortium model is beneficial to the state at large? How do we scale this, as the secretary said?
I think the state has benefited by the consortium model, and Don kind of touched on this, and so did Karen, that as working as a collaborative system rather than in silos, each institution is unique, but they can come together and they can have a uniform approach, which benefits everybody. I think that the consortium approach also allows the colleges to share resources, to share expertise, which saves everybody money, puts less money into admin for the grant and more into participants. And it also is allowing the participants to get industry recognized credentials that are portable and are recognized by all institutions throughout the state. So anything that we can do to continue this model and get additional grants of a similar nature would be obviously beneficial to all of us.
So let's pivot backwards back to the corporation, because I think one of the things the secretary said he was interested in hearing is lessons learned. And so as you all talk about how you've experienced this program and how it's been a win-win, maybe share a little bit about lessons learned and how we might be able to build upon what we've done. And I don't know, Clyde, if you've got some thoughts on that, or Chancellor, or?
Well, I think one lesson learned is not what happens when things go good, it's what happens when things go bad. What happens when the things aren't rosy, and how do you solve those issues? And I think that's the true identifiable partnership, even with companies. When the curriculum isn't working, the place when the graduation rate is low, what do you do? So I think we have to build into that. We always do MOUs and letters of agreement, but that letter of agreement needs to really talk about what do you do when you're trying to solve a challenge. I think that's the good part of doing this type of work, is that even with Don, I mean, we had some pretty aggressive conversations when that amount of money hits the system, and then people,
open and frank.
Yes, right. But I think all parties, I think that's the real key component that has to be there when you do that.
So Hilda or Kevin, do you have feedback from the employer perspective of things that we can build upon on our program?
We have done great work together in identifying what constitutes a well-skilled person that is coming out of classroom setting and into the work setting. And that has come through experience. Somebody is just, we look at things that are real simple to us. Attendance. We look at dress. We look at how you present yourself. And the school has just done a great job in identifying these things for the students. And so, as I said, technical skill is great, but how do you fit into an organization? And so this has allowed students to opt in, it has allowed students to opt out, and then to continue to grow. I think that's one of the really great benefits. The other benefit, similar to Clyde and what he calls incestuous relationships, is that Dr. Solano is on our board and he's one of your employees. And so I think having those types of relationships and partnerships really work, because you can't tell your boss no. And but at the same time, what it does is that it forces the organization to grow. So it's not just the school or the students. We were talking with our chief of nursing services and quality, and she's here, said we really need to develop a good program for the students and for new employees, a preceptor program, and really just define exactly what they're going to learn within that certain period of time. If we didn't have this kind of experience, having new people coming in through the college, we wouldn't have thought to do something as specific as that.
Kevin?
And she more or less hit the nail on the head. Communication is key to our success. And I'm a firm believer that with the staff that they have here at MCC is top of the line. I couldn't ask for a better group to work with. And I feel like I can rely on them quite a bit. I mean, all I have to do is make a phone call. But I really don't have anything negative to say about what they've done for the Fight Corporation, because it was very overwhelming for me. So you've got a great staff, and look forward to it continuing.
So in Missouri, each one of these grants had a theme. And the colleges were able to customize then their training programs and services to what our regional needs were. So how were the Businesses and Workforce Investment Board involved in determining what the regional business needs were and what training should be developed? And perhaps, Mark, if you want to speak to that, how do we gather that information? We've talked a lot about partnership, but maybe expand upon that a bit.
Well, that one thing the FEC brings to the table is a lot of data, a lot of research, a lot of timely data of workforce demand and so forth. So that, we had some early conversations that really identified areas of opportunity where there was definitely need. And with that, the FEC has a good line on potential candidates. Clyde's group can line up literally thousands of potential candidates, and then it becomes kind of the challenge for us is he's telling me we've got them, now, get your programs going, and you've got 2 weeks to get there. If I'm lucky, it's 2 weeks. Sometimes it's less. So again, it's just that it goes back to that networking. I introduced the tongue-in-cheek, the incestuous, but it really is, it's networking, and it's having key people in each other's networks, so there's timely communication. And so it really, while the grants really kind of dictated the areas of emphasis, then it's just really a matter of having conversations of, okay, here's the area of emphasis. Now, where are the real targets of opportunity in terms of, job skills needed? Is it CNAs? Is it PNs? Is it nurses with ADN degrees? What is it? And or all of the above. And then Clyde helps provide that pipeline of potential students who are in most need, frankly, and that's really what we want to target are the folks who are really looking to change lives and are looking for that open door, to get into a training curriculum that's going to lead to, a good paying job. So,
And the state blew up the firewall between UI. So now we can recruit through the UI system, through text messaging, through cell phones, through email. And the second thing that the state did was to be able to, you could map where all the recipients are. So if they are out in Blue Springs, we know all the UI recipients, people in Blue Springs, just by pulling the system up. And I can tell you that that's been very critical. We don't have enough people to figure out, to call every business, identify those people. So the breaking down of the firewall between the UI system and the companies themselves, all the companies we have listed, so we could break those up by regions and by zip code. And there's a lot of, that's very important to a lot of companies, because we could have a great candidate in Kansas City, but the Blue Springs, I'm sorry, but our transportation system here is not as good as it is in DC. We need a better mass transit system. Terry, the chamber, we've been talking about that, but that's a big barrier. So if we don't really centralize that, it's really a waste of time. So I think the integration of labor market information, the real-time data, and the job seeker data has been very important to making us more time efficient. I think our system has such a bureaucracy connotation. Sometimes business used to run when we came to see them. And so I think the ability to bring information and to have everybody working as a team, I do think this redundancy issue, we keep talking about it, but we have lunch together, we talk together. But I'm glad the employers don't see all the background noise that happens when we get back and we're debating what policy to implement. So we keep that from the employer, which is good. I'm glad that Hilda and haven't seen all that stuff because it goes on, but at least we learn to keep it behind the scenes and not to impact our customers with it, either the job seeker or the employer, and that's very important.
Another thing that Clyde did on the Mo Health grant was leverage some other grant dollars he had. And so we were able to, I forget the exact amount of our award for the TAC grant, but Clyde had another significant piece that he leveraged on top of that. So we combined those dollars, which really gave us, became a force multiplier for the whole program.
Great. So that's kind of a high level of all the different partnerships that we have going on between the college, our local employers, our state, our community college association, the Full Employment Council. But at the end of the day, it's really about, I think what you said, it's about changing lives. And so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about how these partnerships have had real impact, the personal stories that impacted real lives. And through the Mo Health Wins grant, we had 888 participants go through that program. So it's more than just 888 lives changed because their families are impacted too. And so let's maybe talk to you, Crystal. I know you're going through the medical assistant training program, and you're going to be the first in your family that will graduate from college. And so maybe share with us a little bit about how this program is helping you achieve your goals. And do you think that these opportunities will change your life?
This program's helping me achieve my goals. Like, it really is giving me the knowledge to become a medical assistant.
You need a microphone.
Okay.
Okay.
Give that, we'll make that happen.
I don't know if it'll.
I don't know if we will. We're gonna try. I'm following it.
We're going to put the Secretary of Labor to work here.
That works for me. You know, if you go under that table, you can get, you think you can get over? Hold on, hold on. There we go. Yeah, that'll get you there.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I've seen him climb on a motorcycle, a forklift, and now he's doing
Other duties as assigned, we call that.
Go ahead, Crystal.
This program is giving me the knowledge that I need to know to become a medical assistant, to do well at my job, like help patients. This program, I think it's amazing how it works, how it's giving me the knowledge. It literally is giving me everything I need to become successful in this as a medical assistant.
How'd you find out about it?
Last semester I took anatomy class and because I want to do radiology, like that's my lifelong goal is to become a radiologist. And anatomy, this girl told me about the program because she knew I was wanting to get my foot in the door in the medical field, to become a CNA, to do something to help me get there. And I took the step into this because I thought it'd be an amazing experience and help me get to where I want to be. So.
What do you like best?
I literally learned so much every single day, and I think it's amazing. Like, just how much I learned, and I wouldn't have guessed I would learn this much. Like every day, it's a new thing. Like helping my knowledge and helping me understand like how to treat a patient, how to work with patients, like what I need to do, what I don't need to do. Like, it really does help me.
That's great.
So we've got a couple of our graduates. So Crystal can see what happens life after the program, and we can hear some success stories. So let's talk to Anna. You've completed the certificate program and found a job with Midwestvaco Kalmar, and we understand that you have since returned to MCC to take additional classes. So how did this grant motivate you to increase your skills in this career pathway, to gain a job, and then also to want to continue your education?
Well, when I first came to the school, I was laid off from my former employer. So we had Mo-Wins at the former employer, and he told us about all these grants and stuff. So I went down to the unemployment office, and they pointed me in this direction, and away I went. With the SIM program, I got in, and with the grant money, I was able to get my certificate in the mill, manual mill and CNC mill. And then through the internship, I went to work with Ben out at Midwestvaco, and we liked each other so much, he went ahead and hired me. But out there, they also deal with lathes and stuff like that. So that was more knowledge that I would need to learn. So I decided to go ahead and pick up the fall class and get my certificate in the CNC lathe and manual lathe.
Excellent.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, what about, let's see here, Joe. We heard a little bit about our Match.com and our Match Made in Heaven over here. And so maybe you can speak a little bit about, you were one of the first people or first group of people that went through the Computer Integrated Machining and Manufacturing, or SIM training. And what was the best thing that you learned in the program that helped make you successful at FIKE?
Well, I can't really say that it was one thing. You know, this program gave me the building blocks to walk in the door at FIKE and be successful. And it's so many opportunities, and every day at FIKE I'm able to use those opportunities. And I think I've made an impression, I hope I have anyway, at FIKE. And
Were you one of those video gamers? Yeah.
a little bit, yeah.
So there's hope for the video gamers of the world, right? For full employment. Secretary?
No, I was just wondering how you learned about it. I'm always interested in how people learn about the various opportunities.
Well, I had started here late 2012 in the machinist program, and this is before this program had started. And I heard word of it, and I thought it was a great opportunity to get my foot in the door somewhere. I knew if I could get my foot in the door, I could learn, and hopefully someone would hire me.
Kind of worked.
Yeah.
Wow. Excellent. What's the one thing that you wish would have been a part of that initial training?
I can't say that there was anything in particular. I thought it went really well. I thought, you know, for it being a brand new program like it was, there was a lot of learning steps, not only for me, but for the college. And my instructors did a very good job. After every class that I took, they would bring us back in and ask us, you know, hey, you know, how do you think the class went? You know, what could we do to make your guys' life better, to help you guys get the tools that you need? And I thought it all went really well.
Okay. So Alicia is one of our graduates of our health IT program. And what I understand is you were working in a field where you felt like you had little chance for a promotion or a raise. So you enrolled in the health information and technology track, and you're now working as a medical records analyst specialist up at Liberty Hospital. So how did this program change your path?
Well, it gave me the knowledge and the skills, just brushing up on the skills that I needed to be able to become a professional, because I felt like I was just stuck in the entry level position with nowhere to go. And so, because I was at primary care office as a referral specialist, and so there just wasn't anywhere else to go. And one of my goals has always been to get into the hospital setting. And so this helped, the Mohawk ones helped me achieve that. And the staff, I have to give kudos to the Mohawk ones staff because they are awesome. They work as a team and they keep you motivated and everything. They don't let you give up. I took the certification test twice, and the second time I passed, but I couldn't have done it without their help. So,
Excellent, congratulations.
thanks.
And what do you hope for the future? What's next for you?
Just continued advancement, possibly some more classes later on down the line.
Great. Okay, and then Brittany, we heard a little bit from you when we were on the tour. And right now you're going through the welding program, as I understand it, which is fun and exciting, particularly for maybe a female entering a not traditional work path. So that's exciting. But you were able to also complete the warehousing program and worked at our Toys R Us warehousing location here. So talk to us about how this training gave you skills to find employment now. And then maybe also expand upon how you're building your skills, how you're taking further opportunities in the program.
Well, the warehousing class not only helped me find employment, but it also gave me skills personally as well, like with the interviewing, mock interviewing and stuff. I overcame a lot of my insecurities about like public speaking. so that really helped. Yeah. And I was able to build a great resume. We spent time in class building resumes and stuff, and that really helped. I believe that was one of the things that got my foot in the door at the job.
And Brittany, I understand you're a single mom.
Yes.
And so maybe talk about how these job opportunities have impacted you and your family.
Right now, it's kind of a touchy subject because it's really emotional, but it's hard. But I feel like it's definitely going to pay off in, a year or so. I feel like doing everything that I'm doing right now is better than doing it when my children are like 6 and 7. So right now it's hard, but I think it's definitely, I see a bright future for us.
Great. So it's really about impacting people. Secretary, do you have comments on some of that?
Well, first of all, to the graduates and current students, thanks for sharing your stories. I think I speak for everyone in saying you inspire all of us. Brittany, I learned a long time ago, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And you have no reason to feel anything but pride and confidence. And I know your kids are looking up at you saying, my mom's got game. And all of you. I mean, there's nothing, I've had the privilege in this job of sitting down with a lot of folks who've gotten kicked in the gut. They lose their job through no fault of their own. And not just, with the loss of a job is not just the loss of a paycheck, it's the loss of dignity. And all of you, through the work that you have done, that's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I meet a lot of strong people in this job, you know, folks who really worked hard to upskill, really believed in themselves, have conquered remarkable obstacles, set an example for their family. And I know there are a lot of folks who are remarkably proud of, you know, Chris, Milana, Brittany, Alice, Joe. You set a great example. And I think it's important also, Shelley, to kind of level set where we're at. Because I think I refer to where we're at right now in the workforce system and really in our economy generally. I refer to it as an Eisenhower moment. You know, Eisenhower brought us the interstate highway system. And what we're doing right now, and what you are an integral part of, and the you is everyone in this room, and then some, and those who are watching on live streaming, is we're building the skills superhighway. Eisenhower brought us the interstate highway system. We are rebuilding the skills superhighway for the 21st century. It's exciting. You know, I spent a lot of time talking to employers, talking to folks who are in the workforce system, community college presidents, community college teachers, et cetera. And what I hear consistently from folks who've been in this space for a long time is that this is the most exciting time of their career professionally, because we are in this Eisenhower moment where forces have aligned. There's regrettably all too many things in Washington that are kind of broken. This is an area where there's overwhelming bipartisan support. Congress passed an overwhelming and very important bill about 18 months ago, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, bless you, bless all of you, that was, you know, a real, you know, setting the blueprint for the 21st century. And when I talk to folks who've been in this space a while, and when I started out in this space in local government, when I was a local elected official, I had the privilege then of being a state labor secretary, and now I have this, I can't hold a job, to put it slightly differently. That's another story for another time. And the biggest difference that I observe, and others have told me that they observe between then and now, is the quantity and quality of employer engagement. The old model was what I call train and pray. You know, you train people to be widget makers, and you kind of hope that there's demand for widget makers. Now we've truly become demand driven, and you should never be training anyone. And we're really, we've transitioned from train and pray to train in place. And you know, Clyde and others, they're a repository, as the Chancellor correctly pointed out, of a remarkable amount of data. And the data is actually quite exciting right now. You know, we have 5.2 million job openings right now as we speak. That is a bellwether of a robust economy. 5 million jobs last month that were new hires. That's churn. That's you know, more and more people are voluntarily quitting their job. People don't quit their job unless they think they can get a better job. You know, in the depths of the recession, there were 7 job seekers roughly for every job opening. Now we have about 1.6. So this Eisenhower moment is exciting. And I was in Nebraska yesterday. The most common thing I'm hearing from employers there is that, you know, they got 2.6% unemployment, and they're having trouble. You know, there's a story about a guy who owns a chain of fast food restaurants, and he's going in the drive-through of his competitors. And according to the story, he's like, anybody looking for a job? No, I'm not making this up. He'll do anything to find workers. So, you know, when we're building this skills superhighway, we've got to make sure that there are robust on-ramps. And one on-ramp that we're working very hard to fortify is an apprenticeship on-ramp. You know, we, as a nation, over a long period of time, regrettably devalued apprenticeship. Go to Germany. The youth unemployment rate is less than half of what it is here in the US. Not hard to figure out why. They give pathways, viable pathways with stature to people when they're young. And by the way, it's not an either apprenticeship or higher ed. That's a misconception. Apprenticeship is the other college, except without the debt. And what we've been doing, the president has set forth an ambitious goal of doubling the number of registered apprenticeships in the United States. And we've been working side by side with employers. And we're working to expand beyond the traditional skilled trades. You mentioned about gadgets and your fluency, Joe. I mean, when my iPhone goes on the fritz, I go to my 13-year-old and he'll fix it. And taking that fluency, by the way, 10% of those 5.2 million job openings right now, roughly, are in IT. And only a small fraction require a college degree. I met folks who were coal miners in coal country in Kentucky, and they lost their jobs, and their jobs in all likelihood aren't coming back. And they were working for a startup that was doing computer coding, and they had great pride. And from coal to code, that's what their motto is. And I had a guy tell me that I got a call from my old job at the coal mine last Friday. They offered me my job back, and I said respectfully, no thank you, because I'm on a new career pathway that's more stable and sustainable. And what I learned from them is the same thing I learned from the 5 students and graduates here, which is that we get kicked in the gut sometimes, but this is a nation of fighters, and you fall down and you get up, and you get up and you upskill, and you know these folks are going gangbusters in coal country, and it's very exciting. And that's what this superhighway, we need to fortify those on-ramps for apprenticeship. And in so doing, we need to talk to parents to say, you know what, manufacturing, this is not your father's Oldsmobile. This is manufacturing where people are walking around plants with iPads. This is manufacturing that is exciting. Construction presents just remarkable opportunities. I don't need to tell y'all because you've been successful for years and years. And the jobs of the 21st century, when Congress finally passes a long-term transportation infrastructure bill, there'll be even more of those jobs, and that will happen. I'm an eternal optimist. But we need your help in fortifying this superhighway. We need to make sure there are on-ramps for veterans. We just celebrated the Americans with Disabilities Act. The labor force participation rate of people with disabilities is 21%. I seldom meet people who tell me I want to be a taxpayer. I meet people with disabilities all the time who tell me I want to be a taxpayer. And I meet employers who have understood that we need to stop focusing on the first 3 letters of that word and start focusing more on the last 7. And so I meet employers like Walgreens. You go to a Walgreens distribution center, you'll see 40% of their workers are people with disabilities. That was all about corporate leadership. One of the senior VPs, one of my heroes, a guy named Randy Lewis, who said, he's the father of a son with autism, and the privilege of raising that child showed him that his child's got game. And so he's doing remarkable things at Walgreens, and he's evangelizing. And so now other big box stores are doing the same. So we need to fortify that on-ramp. We need to make sure that folks who are coming out of prison and been engaged in the justice system have opportunities. And again, the largest private employer in Maryland is Hopkins, Johns Hopkins, a world-class education institution, a world-class healthcare provider, and the most prolific employer of former offenders is Johns Hopkins. And if Ron Peterson were here, he would tell you that this is not an act of charity. It's an act of enlightened self-interest. And the workforce system has a lot of tools. So when I hear from employers, I'll think about it, but what if they have a theft conviction? Well, guess what? We have a tool in the toolbox for that. It's called a surety bond. We will insure that risk for you. And I believe in second chances. I'm confident you all believe in second chances. And frankly, some of the kids I've met who've been in the criminal justice system never really had a first chance. And so when we look at this skills superhighway, we've got to fortify that on-ramp. And it requires sustained commitment. It requires taking your lessons and taking them to scale and your successes. And the thing that concerns me the most moving forward, and it's come up a number of times implicitly here today, actually a couple of times explicitly, is we had 4 rounds attacked, $2 billion. got a lot of good results to show for it. Exhibit A, MCC. We don't have a round 5 currently. I'd love to have a round 5 because I can make the case in every corner of this country of the success stories. The good news is that your example here is the rule, it's not the exception. We've seen partnership in action all over the country, and we've seen it catalyze systemic change, and that systemic change ends up helping change lives, to use your term. It helps facilitate your ability to change lives. And so what keeps me up at night is I see all these success stories. I see the Brittany's, the Alicia's, the Crystals, the Annas, the Joes of the world who are benefiting. And I'm thinking, you know, there are millions more who could benefit. And there are employers out there who want that stable pipeline of skilled workers. And so I got an ask for you. I need your help in Washington. I need you to make the case that, you know what, this has been an investment well made, and we need to continue and to sustain it. Because right now, we don't have a round 5. And, you know, every federal dollar spent on apprenticeship, there's a $28 return on investment. That's pretty good. I'm not very good at math, but that sounds pretty good to me. And you know the return on investment, and you can't measure in dollars and cents for Brittany and Alicia and Joe and Anna and Crystal, the return on investment that comes with the dignity of being able to tell your parents, or your kids, or other loved ones what you're doing with your lives and how you got kicked in the gut and you woke up and you dusted yourself off and you're doing even better now and you're stronger for it. And so I hope I can get your help because we got the wind at our back right now, and we know these things work, and we need to continue and redouble our efforts. And you guys are great ambassadors because you've been remarkably successful at building a model that has created shared prosperity. You know, when more people have prosperity, we're a stronger nation for it. So I need your help. And that's my one ask that I have for you today is making sure that your entire congressional delegation, your folks in Washington understand that out in the field here, folks, this stuff matters. And if we're going to build this skills superhighway, you can't do it with fairy dust. You need these investments so you can purchase the equipment, so you can continue to retain the fantastic faculty and support staff that you have here. That's what we need to scale this. And frankly, it's it's in a little bit of flux right now, and I don't want to mislead you. And so I don't want to leave on a down note, but I want to leave on a sober note because we want to sustain this progress.
Thank you for those comments. Chancellor, you want to wrap us up?
I will wrap us up like a Christmas present.
All right.
Speaking of which, Secretary, we would be remiss if we let you leave our fine city.
Wow.
I've already cleared this with security. They know that there's nothing dangerous in here. So
Wow,
you mentioned several times about people who got game.
That's right.
We believe this city has got game, and then on the back of this picture,
League, I might observe.
you will notice Metropolitan Community College because we got game too. So
Thank you.
we certainly thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You rattled off many destinations where you've been and where you've yet to go, and for you to choose to stop and spend this time at MCC, we are truly honored. We really appreciate the attention that you've brought to the good work of our faculty and staff and students and the differences that we're making, and we really appreciate your being here today with us, sir.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone. Great morning. Oh my, this will be Especially appreciate that. Excellent. Thanks again. Have a great day. Really learned a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks again. Wow, man. They will.